Last week in Pastor's Corner, I told you that recommending books is one of my love languages. So today I thought I would recommend a book for you. Wanted to share this book with you. This is a book that has impacted my life in a big way, and it's called Daring Greatly by sociologist Brene Brown. And this is a book about the power of vulnerability and how vulnerability has this important role to play in things like parenting, in leadership, and in significant relationships as well. And I think one of the reasons this book was so impactful for me is I just find that such a fascinating concept. Brown defines vulnerability as the ability to show up and let yourself be seen. And this is fascinating to me because being vulnerable in that way, letting others see us for who we are, is a big fear that I think a lot of people have. Certainly I have that fear of what will other people think of me if I allow them to see me for who I really am. And yet this life of mutual vulnerability is exactly what we are being invited into when we decide to follow Jesus, and especially if we decide to do that as part of a local congregation, if we decide to do that by being committed to a certain group of people in a certain space over a long period of time. When you join a church, when you engage in these long-term sorts of relationships, you are opening the door to get your toes stepped on a lot. You can probably expect that. And if you stay long enough, you'll probably also end up getting your heart broken more than once as well. Why would you do that? Why would anyone want to do that? One of the truths that Brown explores about vulnerability in Daring Greatly is this idea that despite its risks, vulnerability really is sort of the gateway to a lot of the things that we desire most in life. And one of those things is love. Love through the kinds of meaningful relationships that vulnerability can sort of create space for. If we're not willing to open ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt, then our relationships can only kind of reach a certain level. And we probably can't call them love. It's going to be something that sort of stays on the surface. So you'll be safe in a lot of important ways, but you'll also be kind of lonely as well. You know, reaching out to one another through these kinds of mutual and meaningful relationships is one of our areas of focus here at Highview over the next 2 years. It's part of our strategic plan. And my family and I have been part of Highview for 10 years now. And overall, I would say that actually our church is pretty good at this. I've learned a lot from many of you who are not afraid to be who you really are and form those kinds of relationships. But sometimes what we're finding and what we've heard from the congregation is that we can get a little bit stuck, I think, in our significant relationships with people who are like us, people who might be our same age or somebody we have something else in common with. So we really wanted to focus on trying to bridge that generational divide by making this one of the areas of focus over the next 2 years. It takes time to build relationships. They're built very slowly, depending on the people involved, slowly over time as we open ourselves up to others and they open themselves to us and we both allow ourselves to be seen, and then slowly over time a bridge of trust becomes built between us. More often than not, it all starts with a conversation. Who can you strike up a conversation with this week, either in line or in person, that maybe isn't someone you would usually just naturally gravitate towards? How can you create more space in your life and in your own mind and heart for vulnerability and for love? If you don't feel like you're good at this, I'm not good at it either, but I think we can learn together.